Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, welcome to Aifer Final Lab. Can you hear me? Am I audible and is the screen visible? Please comment using chat box, okay? Am I audible? Hello, Nisha. Nice to see you too. Okay. So I'm audible, right? Okay, fine. Okay, more people will be joining soon, I hope. Okay, I hope the screen is also visible. So let's start. You don't have to wait anymore, let people join. So yes, once again, welcome to Aifer Final Lab. Okay. So before starting the session, let me introduce myself. I'm Hiba Ashraf. I'm a JRF holder in psychology. I have cracked my JRF in the last exam, 2020 June examination. Okay. So I hope all of you are doing very well. Okay, all of your preparations are going well. So yes, NET exam got postponed again, after again. Day before yesterday, notification came, right? I hope you are at the final stage of your preparation. You know what happens normally? There are two categories of people who react in two different ways to this particular news, exam postponement. You know, those who are not yet started their preparation will find it very happy news. They're like damn happy that they'll get, you know, enough time to study now, you know, all that, you know, this news will be very glad to hear. And the other category, those who started preparing for so long and who are about to finish their preparation, almost ready with everything. These kind of postponing news are like highly disappointing. I don't know which category you are in. Anyway, actually, both of these categories can do well at this time, okay? What you guys can do is, if you're not yet started your preparation, just start it. You have enough time, just start it, okay? And if you're already finished preparation, there is actually nothing finished. Okay, you can start revising everything and start practicing the previous year question papers. You're lucky enough to get more time to practice question papers. So practice question papers, practice previous year question with previous question papers as much as possible this time. So don't feel that regret of postponing this exam, okay? So yes, don't get disappointed and, you know, don't lose your motivation. Just do your preparation once you're doing for so long, okay? So in between, before starting this session, I want to ask you this. Are you guys confident that you can crack JRF this time? Be genuine about it, okay? You can comment through chat session. Are you guys confident that you can crack JRF or NET this time? How much confident are you about this exam? This clubbing of 2020 December exam with June 2021 exam, now rescheduling this exam date again and again. How confident are you that you can crack JRF this time? Just come into the chat session, okay? I'm expecting your reply through the chat session. Most of you will be confident and some of you will be not that much confident because you may be, you know, not started preparing yet. For that category of people, it may not be, you know, that kind of confidence won't be there. If you're not confident, just don't worry about it. Okay, start doing something about it. Okay, so disappointing about something, disappointing about not studying something, not preparing something is not a solution. So if you're not confident yet, just start doing something about it. Okay, so yeah, let's come to the topic. No more chit chats, I think. Okay. We'll be dealing our teaching aptitude sessions today. Okay, teaching aptitude will be discussed today in this episode. Before we start discussing, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon, okay? And don't miss our videos. Watch it every day. It will definitely help for your preparation. So I hope you subscribe this channel. Okay. So moving to the teaching aptitude. This is the teaching aptitude. Okay, Malavi is not confident. Okay. Actually, Malavi, if you have 1 month, that is actually an enough time for net preparation. Actually, when I cracked JRF, I only had 1 month. Okay, I just prepared only 1 month, but that preparation was consistent. I still believe that consistency was the key to my JRF. So if you are preparing consistently, 1 month is actually enough. So don't lose hope, start preparing. Okay. So yes, this is our teaching aptitude syllabus. As you can see, this is a 6 subtopic syllabus of teaching aptitude. There are 6 main topics: teaching, learners' characteristics, factors affecting teaching, methods of teaching, teaching support system, evaluation system. The syllabus may seem a little bit, difficult to grasp. I mean, there's so many topics, so many subtopics, and when you analyze previous year question papers, you may be finding so many unfamiliar terms and teaching related concepts in previous year questions, and you may get confused. How these kind of things are included in teaching aptitude syllabus. We cannot see directly these kind of topics in our teaching aptitude syllabus. Okay, but what you have to understand is that teaching aptitude syllabus is a bit tricky, I would say. Usually people say teaching aptitude is an easy topic in the syllabus. To be honest, that is actually true. Okay, because we don't have to use our critical thinking or too much reasoning capacity, or we don't have to think logically in order to answer teaching aptitude question, or when we study teaching aptitude. But there is something difficult about teaching aptitude. I think you guys know that, because when answering teaching aptitude questions, you are like, a bit confusing options will be there. Okay, before moving to that all, what are the topics you find most difficult in teaching aptitude syllabus? When you look at this syllabus, when you can see, you can check the slide. When you analyze this teaching aptitude syllabus, which topic of teaching aptitude module is the most difficult thing for you? And you prepared, when you answered previous year question, which topic you found most difficult in teaching aptitude? Let me know through the comment section. Okay, let me see what are the difficult topics for you, and I'll try to explain as much as possible. I may not have to, I may not find enough time to discuss every topic in this episode. I'll be definitely coming again. Okay, what are the difficult topics you found and teaching aptitude? Okay, I'm expecting your reply. Meanwhile, let me go through this syllabus. Okay, guys, let me go through the syllabus. Only some basic aspects we'll discuss now. As you can see, there are 6 major topics in teaching aptitude. First subtopics covers teaching. What is teaching? Introductory aspects of teaching. What is the meaning of teaching? What is the concept of teaching? What are the features that made up the total teaching learning process? And what are the levels of teaching, different levels of teaching? So these kind of introductory aspects are covered in the first topic. And the second topic of the syllabus of teaching aptitude, we have to cover learners' characteristics. Learners' characteristics. You must understand one thing, that as a teacher, you may be having different types of students in front of you. Some of them will be adolescent learners, adolescent students. Some of them will be adult students. So age level of the students may vary from one to the other. So as a teacher, you have to understand different features of these kind of learners. What will be the characteristic features shown by an adolescent learner? What will be the characteristic features shown by an adult learner? So these kind of characteristic features must be there, must be understood by a teacher before starting the teaching learning process. Okay, so these kind of learners' characteristics are discussed in the second topic. Then we have third one, factors affecting teaching. What are the different factors affecting teaching? You have to understand that there's so many factors which can both positively and negatively influence teaching learning process. There are certain teacher-related factors. There's certain traits related to teacher which can positively or negatively influence teaching process. And also there are some learner characteristics, traits possessed by the learner or the student, which can positively or negatively affect the teaching learning process. And there are a third factor, which is environmental factors, surrounding factors which can influence the teaching and learning process as a whole. So there are certain factors which can affect teaching and learning process, both in a positive and negative way. These are the main topics that have to be covered in the third subtopic of teaching aptitude. Then we have fourth one, methods of teaching. This is a very important subtopic in teaching aptitude syllabus. Okay, methods of teaching. There are plenty of teaching methods that have to be studied before examination because there are so many questions asked from this particular area. Okay. As you know, there's so many teaching mechanisms, teaching techniques used in the classroom setting by a teacher. There are lecture methods, seminar method, inductive, deductive, analytical, synthetic, micro teaching, macro teaching, plenty of teaching techniques are there. And all of that teaching methods have to be studied by you without any excuse. Okay, so this is a very important topic. You have to note it down and make sure you cover that topic before exam. Okay. Then we have fifth subtopic in teaching aptitude, which is teaching support system. It is not that much important, I would say, because when you check the previous year question papers, you can't find that much, that much number of questions from this area. Anyway, you have to cover it. And this teaching support system, we have to, we must be able to differentiate between the old traditional mode of teaching system and the new or modern teaching system, teaching structure. So that comparison is the main thing in teaching support system. Then we have the sixth, last but not the least. Okay, it must be the most important teaching aptitude topic, I would say, evaluation system. Okay, evaluation system. There's so many questions from this particular topic, mainly types of evaluation. Evaluation types. You must have seen these terms in the previous year questions, question papers: formative evaluation, summative evaluation, criterion reference, norm reference. So all these kind of types of evaluation that is there in types of evaluation. This is a very important topic that have to be covered in teaching aptitude module. Okay. So yes, these are the basic idea, basic things that have to be covered in teaching aptitude while you prepare. Okay. Now let me see what are the difficult areas in teaching aptitude for you. Yeah, for Heba's method, teaching method, of course, teaching method is a very important topic also. Okay, you have to cover. There's so many. Okay, I think it's about 15 to 20 teaching techniques are there that have to be studied for your examination. There's so many questions regarding that. So that's an important topic also. Then evaluation system, of course, that's a if there are a total of 5 questions in teaching aptitude, you can expect at least 1 or 2 questions from evaluation. That is why this topic is really important. Then Bloom's taxonomy. Yes, this Bloom's taxonomy topic is not at all covered in the syllabus. Okay, in syllabus they didn't mention Bloom's taxonomy at all. But you analyze the previous year question, you can see this question very much, in a very big number. You can see a lot of questions from Bloom's taxonomy, both original taxonomy and revised taxonomy. So that is also very important. Okay, policies. I think policies by you meant teaching method. I'm not sure what Harshada meant. Education policies. I think education policies actually discussed under higher education. When it comes to teaching aptitude, we don't discuss that education policies here, not in teaching aptitude, but it's definitely asked in NET exam, but not in the teaching aptitude syllabus, in the higher education syllabus. Okay. Okay, but which is a very important topic in NET exam. Okay. So yes. So these are the important evaluation system, methods, and all. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy. These are the difficult topics that you have mentioned in the chat box. Anyway, today we can't discuss every difficult topic that we have mentioned because of the time limit we have. Anyway, we'll try to discuss more and more topics in the coming videos. So in order to get those videos, don't forget to subscribe our channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. Okay, make sure you have subscribed this channel. Okay. Now, so yes, coming to the discussion of teaching aptitude topics. As I mentioned, there are a total of 6 subtopics in teaching aptitude syllabus. We will be discussing 2 of the important topics from that, which are types of evaluation. Of course, someone said this is a difficult topic for them. Types of evaluation, we'll be discussing that today. And also levels of teaching. 2 factual topics from the teaching aptitude syllabus. Levels of teaching and types of evaluation. We'll try to discuss these 2 topics today. Okay. So before going to the discussion of this topic, there are, as you must know, teaching aptitude module is quite a subjective topic. You might have, found that very difficult. It's a very subjective module because most of the time we will get confused about teaching aptitude question, whether option B is the right one or C is the right one, or C or D could be the right answer, right? Both can be the right answer. And all these kinds of confusions are there while choosing a single answer in teaching aptitude question. It is because most of the teaching aptitude topics are very subjective in nature. So if something is subjective, it means that for me, A will be the right answer. For you, B will be, the option B will be the right answer. And for a third person, C and D would be the right answer. Both of that option will be right for them. So all of us have different opinions about what is right and what is wrong. Okay, but when a topic is factual, we can expect objective questions from those portions. When it compared to subjective questions and subjective topics, it's much more easier to answer factual topics and objective questions. If someone asks you how many states are there in India, you'll come up with a single number, right? And won't be having this confusion of two answers being right. Because there's only one answer, and we know that. There's only one answer to that question. So this is the reason why factual topics are very easy to study and very easy to answer when it comes to questions. Okay. So when it comes to teaching aptitude, most of the topics are subjective, but some of are very factual also. So in this episode, we'll be discussing these factual areas, which I have mentioned before, levels of teaching and types of evaluation. These are really important for your examination because there's so many previous year questions from these topics, levels of teaching and types of evaluation. So these are the first thing I have to tell you before we start the discussions. Okay. Then, yeah, let's start with the first topic we have to mention here, levels of teaching. So levels of teaching, you might be seeing so many questions from this topic, levels of teaching. Let's see what are the different levels of teaching and what are the differentiating factors between these levels of teaching and who are the proponents of levels of teaching. Okay, so in an examination point of view, we'll be discussing the important aspects of levels of teaching, and we won't be going in deep, okay, that much deep. We'll be discussing important things in each of these levels. So yes, you must know, when you study these levels of teaching, the first thing you have to memorize is this pyramid, the pyramid you are seeing right now. Okay, before we start to discuss these levels, you must know that there are different levels in teaching. Not every education level uses the same teaching methods, right? We know that way teachers taught us during our first or second standard are very different from the way teachers taught us during our 10th or +2 period, right? And think about our degree, PG or college days, okay, our PhD time or MPhil time. Is it the same way teachers taught us during 10th or +2? No, right? Teaching and teaching mechanism, teachers' attitude, everything is different, right? That is, in essence, for every level of education, you must understand this. For every level of education, there are different levels of teaching involved. If we are at a lower primary level of education, we need a different level teaching. If we are pursuing PhD or MPhil, the teaching we have to receive is different from the lower primary level thing. So we can, putting it simply, we can put it into 3 different levels: memory, understanding, and reflective level. Memory level is the most basic, or it is the most basic or most thoughtless level of teaching, we could say. Most thoughtless level of teaching, memory level. We'll be discussing why this memory level is called thoughtless and thoughtful and most thoughtful level. We'll be discussing it later. So memory level is the most basic level. Then we have an intermediate level, understanding level. Then we have a top level, reflective level. Okay. Memory level is also known as the thoughtless level of teaching. Understanding level is also known as thoughtful level of teaching. And reflective level is also known as most thoughtful level of teaching. So as you can see, involvement of thought is different from one to the other. In memory level, there is no thought needed from the side of student. When it comes to understanding level, some of the thinking capacity of the student is required at this level. When it comes to the top one, reflective level, most of the cognitive capacities, most of the thinking capacities are needed from the side of students. So these are the division of levels of teaching. Okay, now let's discuss each of it one by one. First one, memory level of teaching. Okay, memory level of teaching. So, as you can see, memory level of teaching is also known as abbreviated as MLT, memory level of teaching, MLT. In question, there is chance of them to ask MLT instead of memory level of teaching. So just note it down. MLT refers to memory level of teaching. Okay. So in memory level of teaching, these levels, as we have discussed, this memory, understanding, and reflective level are completely based on how well a student can use his or her thinking capacities, how well a student can use his or her cognitive or thinking capacities. Okay, if a student is not able to use his or her own cognitive or thinking capacities beyond memory skill, except memory skill, the level of teaching which will be useful at that particular level will be memory level of teaching, which means if a student is only able to use the memory capacity he or she possesses, the teaching method, the teaching level he or she might receive as memory level of teaching, which is why, whatever the teacher is teaching will be completely focused on the skill the student possesses at that time. So mostly lower primary level, the student will only have this memory skill. Not any other cognitive skill, like they can't think creatively. They can't think, they can't reason critically. They can't logically analyze things. They can't make decisions. They can't solve problems. So these kind of higher order thinking capacities are not there in lower primary level. The only skill developed during that time is memory. So at that time, at that lower primary education level, the level of teaching take place is memory level of teaching. Okay, memory level of teaching. So think about lower primary classes. Okay, teachers won't be using any complicated teaching strategies, right? They'll be using stories, poems, and rhythmic tunes and pictures to teach us something, to let us understand something. Have you ever seen a teacher teaching these age level students the way they teach college students? Like lecturing, seminar presentation, all at first or second standard. Have you ever experienced something like this, a seminar presentation or lecturing or that kind of things, a debate or things? No, right? So these are not happening in memory level, because for example, if the teacher wants us to study English alphabets, they'll be teaching it as like, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They'll be using a song. They'll be singing it and teaching us. They'll recite each alphabet connecting with something else, like A for apple, B for bus, C for cat. That kind of things are happening in memory level of teaching. So what they're trying to do is they're using the only way in which something can be processed by these students, which is memory. So whatever the teacher is teaching will solely be based on how well a student can remember it, how well a student can memorize it. Okay, so I hope you understood the concept, okay, what memory level of teaching is. So when it comes to examination point of view, there are some points you have to remember in MLT. Herbert is the, this is the first term. Herbert is the proponent of MLT. Herbert is the one who proposed there exists a level that is used for, there exists a level of teaching that can be used in lower primary students, which is memory level of teaching. Okay, memory level of teaching. So the sole focus of memory level of teaching is the memory, which is the only capacity possessed by the student at that level. And in memory level of teaching, one thing you have to note is that the teaching learning system is like a stimulus response system, which means that we learn through associating things. In memory, in MLT stage, we learn anything. As a student, we learn anything and everything using connections, using association. So it works as a stimulus response thing. When someone say A, B, C, D, without even thinking about it, unconsciously we'll be singing it back, E, F, G, right? There's a stimulus response connection. There is an association between anything and everything that we learn in this stage, memory level of teaching. So every learning and teaching thing happening in MLT can be considered as an SR system, a stimulus response system. There'll be a stimulus and a corresponding response, which can happen unconsciously, even without thinking about it. Okay. So these are the important points in MLT. Then one more thing you have to remember is that in question, you can easily find out if they're talking about memory level or not. If you can find the terms memorizing, remembering, retention, or recalling, all of these terms are with respect to memory level of teaching. So you can easily choose the features which is included in memory level of teaching using these terms. Okay, so these are the main points that you have to understand in memory level of teaching. Now moving to the second level, understanding level of teaching. Okay, understanding level. Understanding level is also known as the ULT. Okay, ULT level. Okay, just think about our upper primary classes. Memory level was in the lower primary section. When it comes to upper primary, UP classes are 5th, 6th, or 7th standard. Think about it. And this level, as a student, will be able to use some of our cognitive abilities, right? Some of the abilities than memory has developed in this stage when we reach this upper primary level. Rather than just memorizing things, in understanding level, what happens, students will be able to process it, able to understand it. Whenever teacher says something, the student can give meaning to it. Okay, student can interpret those informations. So these kind of meaning giving or interpretation or merely understanding and information processing are the main features happening in understanding level. Okay, because in that level the student is able to do that kind of things. Okay, not just the memorizing thing. So if you have studied A, B, C, D, E, F, G by reciting it as a poem in the memory level, in this level, teacher will try to teach us the next level of this same thing, which means the teacher will teach us how, what this A, letter A means, how A sounds, or how this alphabet A can be used in words, how this letter A can be used in sentences, grammars. All these things can be studied in understanding level because we are able to process that information that way. We are able more than to memorize those things. Okay, so here the teacher is sure that the student is able to use their thinking capacities more than the previous level. That is when understanding level happens. So I hope you understood this idea when it comes to examination point of view. If you understood this concept, you have to memorize some terms which is related to understanding level. Morrison is the one. Morrison is the proponent of understanding level. He came up with the idea of the existence of understanding level in education. Then what you have to understand is that ULT or understanding level is not a completely independent level from memory level. Okay, these are actually connected. Both this memory level, understanding level, and reflective level, all these three are connected to each other. When it comes to understanding level, this is the thing you have to memorize. Memory level plus insight forms understanding level of teaching. Okay, the memory level we have received during the lower primary level when it connected to insight. If we have some insight about what we are learning, okay, what we are processing, what we are getting, if we have that awareness, if we have that insight about it, it forms ULT or understanding level of teaching. So these are not completely independent factors, rather it is interdependent, we could say. Okay, I hope you understood that. So in this level, more than memory, the student will be able to use some of his or her own intellectual abilities. Okay, now moving to the third level, reflective level of teaching, or we could say RLT, reflective level of teaching. In reflective level of teaching, you must understand certain things. This is the very most, topmost level in levels of teaching. Think about our college time, our UG time, our PG time, or our PhD time. Okay, beyond +2, we can think. Here, as a student, we are capable of using our, cognitive capacities like critical thinking. We can think critically about something. We can reason some situations, right? We can think creatively. We can do logical thinking. We can reason analytically. We can do decision making. We can do problem solving. We can do judgmenting. So all these kind of capacities are there when we reach this developmental stage. That is when happens this topmost level of teaching, which is reflective level. Okay, reflective level. Reflective level is also known as RLT. Okay, RLT. So when it comes to reflective level, we are much capable than we were at the memory level, because in memory level we won't be, we don't have to use, or we won't be able to, we didn't use that kind of memory capacity, or I'm sorry, cognitive capacity. The only capacity we had was memory. Okay, but here in reflective we are using our maximum cognitive potential. That is when reflective teaching happens. Okay, now here the teacher will not be teaching us English alphabets. Okay, or if we take the same example here, it's not about teaching us what are the English alphabets, how these English alphabet sounds. It's not like that, or how to use it in grammar. None of that will happen in this stage, but will be implying advanced level knowledge construction of the same thing. Here as a student, we may get tasks like, tasks which require us to think critically over a subject, to draw our own conclusion, to write an essay, which is a very original one, to find solutions to a problem. So these kind of advanced level of tasks will be given in our this stage in reflective level of teaching, because we are capable to do that. Okay, so teachers give this kind of task only because they know we are capable of using our full potential. And yeah, this is what a reflective level of teaching is in essence. So here the teacher is merely act as a guide. Okay, the primary responsibility is here for the student and not for the teacher, because student is the one who decides when to learn, how to learn, what to learn. All these questions are based on the student's interest. So in reflective level of teaching, most responsibility lies for students, not for the teacher. Okay, so Hunt is the main proponent of reflective level of teaching. His name is really important. There are question marks. There is question asking who are the proponents of each these levels of teaching. So you have to study it carefully. And just like I said before, reflective level of teaching is also not an independent level of teaching. It is also connected with the other two levels, the previous two levels. If we define reflective level, simply we can say MLT plus ULT plus maximum cognitive potential is equal to reflective level of teaching. Okay, combining memory level of teaching and understanding level of teaching with the student's maximum cognitive capacities forms the level reflective level of teaching. Here, I said, I have discussed this already. That classroom environment will be open and independent, which means the student is the most responsible one. Here, the teacher won't be deciding when to learn, when to teach, what to teach, how much to teach, all these kind of questions are dealt by the student itself. So it's a student-centered level of teaching, we can say. Okay. So yes, these are the important points that have to be remembered in reflective level of teaching. I hope you understood this concepts. Okay, now let's summarize all these levels of teaching, MLT, ULT, and RLT. Then we'll be moving on to the next topic. And before that, we'll be discussing some of the latest previous year questions came from this particular area. So yes, MLT, ULT, RLT, as you can see, just revise it fast. Herbert is the proponent of MLT. Morrison is the proponent of ULT. RLT was proposed by Hunt. Okay. In memory level of teaching, memorizing is the core theme. And when it comes to ULT, memory plus having awareness is the main focus. In RLT, it is maximum use of the cognitive capacities. Okay. Then one more thing you have to remember is that when it comes to memory level of teaching, the more responsibility is for teacher and not for the student. Okay, because we have already discussed that when it comes to RLT, reflective level of teaching, most responsibility is for the students, not for the teacher. Student decide the learning process, so it's known as student-centered level of teaching. Okay, this is a very important topic. Okay, this is a very important point you have to note it down. RLT, reflective level, is a student-centered level of teaching because student has the most responsibility in this level. But when it comes to MLT, you have to remember it is a teacher-centered level of teaching because here the teacher has the complete control over the teaching learning process. Teacher decides how to, when to, what to teach. Okay, so it's a teacher-centered level of teaching. So yes, we have discussed, summarizing this thing, we have discussed 3 important levels of teaching: memory, understanding, and reflective level. Memory is the most thoughtless level because no thought from the side of student is involved in this level. Understanding level means the student is getting some more developed in terms of his or her cognitive capacities. So it's known as the thoughtful level of teaching. And when it comes to reflective, it's the most thoughtful because here the student is able to use his or her maximum cognitive capacities. So yes, that's all about levels of teaching. You guys got what I said just now. Is it clear? Is this topic clear? Did you understand what these levels are and what are the important characteristic features that have to be noted down in this particular topic? Is this topic clear for you? Let me know through the chat box. Comment through the chat section, please. Is this thing clear? Things we have discussed so far, is this clear? If it's clear, let's move to the next question. Okay, we'll be discussing some questions from these topics. Okay, all questions we are going to discuss today are the latest question. Okay, latest questions which was taken from the latest examination in 2020 June examination. These are the latest previous year questions. So try to answer it, read it carefully, and try to answer. Which of the following? First question. Which of the following is not merits of reflective level of teaching? This is a very easy question if you understood what I said just right now. Okay, which of the following is not merits of reflective level of teaching? It's a very important thing. Okay, Priyanka, we'll try to include psychology topic discussion also in the coming videos. Okay, I'll be considering it, of course. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, answer this question. It's a very simple thing. It's okay if it's wrong. Okay, you can try. So the question is about what are the following which are not the merits of reflective level of teaching. They're asking not the merits of reflective level of teaching. Okay, it is learner-centered. Okay, everyone is saying C. Okay. Okay, it is learner-centered. Let's see. It is learner-centered, option A. Which one is learner-centered? We know learner is the student. Which level of teaching is considered as the student-centered one? It is, of course, talking about the reflective level. So this is talking about reflective level. So this is not the right answer. We have to select the option which is not related to reflective level. Now, it's appropriate for higher class. Definitely, reflective level is appropriate for higher class. So this is not the right answer. It is suitable for primary school students. Which level of teaching is suitable for primary level students? We already discussed this. The level of teaching which is suitable for lower primary education level is the memory level. So option C is not at all related to reflective level. So this will be the right answer. Option C is the right answer. When it comes to option D, you know, deep level of learning. The maximum use of cognitive capacities, deep level of learning will only be possible in the topmost level of teaching, which is reflective level of teaching. So yes, definitely this is not the correct answer, option D. So right answer is option C because it talks about memory level of teaching. Okay. Now, this is question number 2. This is also very easy if you understood the concept I discussed just before. In the following statements, identify those which are related to characteristics and basic requirements of teaching at understanding level. You have to select the options which can be considered as the features explaining understanding level. Understanding level is the intermediate level. Okay, just consider all the points we have discussed so far. You have to select the option which can be related to understanding level. Okay. Option A talks about teaching stresses recitation of facts and information. Where happens this recitation thing? What is recitation? In a rhythmic way, in a tune, and by singing things. Where, in which level this kind of teaching happens? Memory, understanding, or reflective level? It is definitely memory level, right? It talks about memory level. Because I already told you this, okay, this kind of reciting, if we are studying something A, B, C, D, F, G, if we are reciting something in order to teach the students we are at the memory level of teaching. So no, that's not the correct answer because it talks about memory level of teaching. Option B. Okay, option A is not the right code, we know. Option A is not the right statement. So actually we can eliminate two options from here itself. Option A and option C can be eliminated. You know, you can easily use elimination method while answering teaching aptitude questions. Okay, it'll be really easy and it'll be really fast to answer this kind of question. So if we choose elimination method, we can exclude option A and option C because A is not the right answer, we know. Then teaching becomes an activity to promote seeing of relationship among facts and information. You have to understand that, you know, in order for the student to understand something, some concept, teacher will be using maximum examples and, you know, maximum positive and negative examples to explain something in understanding level. In understanding level, the main teaching strategy teachers use are the use of examples to define something. Because when teachers use examples in memory level, students won't be able to process it. Even the teacher gives examples, the students are not able to process it in memory level. But when it comes to understanding level, you know, the students can connect with each and everything. They can see the relationship between one concept from the other. They can differentiate it. They can understand the examples. They can differentiate those concepts with the examples. All of these are possible in understanding level. Okay, just note it down. Whenever you see relationship among facts and information, the first level you have to think about is understanding level. Okay, so B is in. So from that itself, we can cut this option B because there is no statement B in this option B. So the right answer will be, obviously, it will be option D. Anyway, let's discuss option C. Statement C. The teacher expects that students will be able to translate and interpret the meanings of their own word. It's really clear. It is, you know, explicitly talking about understanding level because memory level, in memory level, student won't be able to translate or give meaning or interpret any information he or she is receiving. Okay, in fact, in understanding level only, the student will be able to process and give meaning or interpret this kind of thing. So option C talks about understanding level. Then the teacher insists on recall, recognition of facts presented. It's easy. Whenever you see this recall, recognition, remembering, memorizing thing, it is directly related to memory. You don't have to think about it, not at all. Okay. So the teacher gives a large number of examples being home to the main ideas. You know, in which level this is the main strategy, using examples to convey a concept, which is understanding level. Okay, so yes, option D is the right answer. Okay, only 2 of you have answered this question. I hope this is not confusing. Even if this was confusing, I hope now it's not confusing, not anymore. Okay, so relationship among facts only possible in understanding. I mean, of course, it's possible in reflective level because it's the most top level, but we can clearly differentiate it as understanding level. And use of examples, understanding level. Reciting, memorizing, recalling, recognition, all of it are related to memory level. Okay, I hope you understood that. Moving to the third question, which is a very simple question. You can answer it fast, and then we'll be moving to evaluation, types of evaluation. Okay. So question number 3, in which level of teaching lower level learning outcomes get focused? Lower level learning outcomes get focused. Memory, understanding, reflective, or autonomous development level. Autonomous development level is a very separate, you know, theoretical model. Okay, in this level of teaching model, we can't see autonomous development model. It's a very different theoretical model, so we don't have to consider that. Now, try to answer this question. Okay, let's see. It's very easy. Let me discuss this fast. So we have MLT here, ULT here, and RLT here. Now the question is, which level of teaching focus on lower level learning outcomes? What does it mean, lower level? Expecting the very lower level or very, you know, very less or very, yeah, not that much developed response from the student, performance from the student. That is what lower level learning outcomes are, which is definitely focused on memory level of teaching. So this is what you have to note down. Memory level of teaching focused on lower level teaching outcomes, lower level teaching outcomes. And RLT focus on higher level learning outcomes. Both these questions are asked, okay? In one question, you can see which level focus on higher order learning outcome. So it is related to RLT. When it comes to ULT, you can say it's intermediate. There is a statement question, an assertion recent type question asking this ULT thing. Okay, ULT focus on intermediate learning outcomes. Okay, so MLT, lower level, ULT, intermediate, RLT, higher level learning outcomes. Okay, I hope you understood that one also. Okay, everyone is correct about this question. I'm so glad. So yes, this right answer is option B. I'm sorry, option A, memory level. Okay. Yes, moving to the next question, next topic, types of evaluation. We'll be discussing it, 4 types of evaluation: formative, summative, and criterion reference, norm reference evaluation. So I hope you understood all the portion we have discussed from levels of teaching. Now moving to the types of evaluation. This is a very frequently asked topic in exam. Okay, you should not skip this topic for any reason. This is a very important topic. Okay, so let's see. Based on previous year question papers, these are the 4 evaluation methods we have to keep in mind. We have to study, summative, formative, criterion, norm reference evaluation. You should have to know that what each these evaluations are and when these evaluations are used, and also what are the differentiating factors of these evaluations. Because most of the times what happens, they'll mix up the features of any of this evaluation. They'll be asking about summative and they'll mix up formative evaluation features in that options. And if we are not able to correctly differentiate these types of evaluation, we'll get it wrong. Okay, we'll get the answer wrong. So please listen carefully. Okay, so let me start with the formative evaluation. Okay, formative evaluation. Okay, this is really easy. Listen carefully. All these evaluation, you have to note down some, important terminology, some important points. Then it's done. Okay, formative evaluation means, formative means something happens, during. We can connect it that way. An evaluation which happens during the teaching period. Okay, during the teaching period or during the instructional period is considered as the formative evaluation. Formative evaluation. Okay, and question, just as discussed now, they'll mix up the features of both formative and summative evaluation. And one thing that will help you choose the formative features from the option is that formative evaluation is not at all concerned about giving a student a rank or grade. Okay, formative evaluation is not at all done to give a student any kind of rank or grade. So if the option is talking about some kind of rank or grade, they are not at all talking about formative evaluation, but summative evaluation. Okay, so when it comes to formative evaluation, it focuses on how to improve the performance of students before testing the achievement. To put it simply, I'll explain it in a different way. Think about what teachers do while taking class. Okay, after teaching some particular topic, teachers usually conduct a very small question answer session, right? A questioning session. They'll ask questions from the areas they have covered that day, and each student will be answering those questions. And teachers will usually conduct this kind of small quiz session during class, and also ask students to prepare summary notes from the areas they covered, point by point, summary notes. Okay, so what teachers does here is not to give them any official grade or mark. Okay, it's not at all about giving them grade or mark. The purpose is not that in case of formative evaluation. Rather, they try to assess how much a student understood a particular concept. That's it. Why are they doing that? If they have to teach that portion again using some other teaching method, or if they have to use more examples to reach a student's understanding level, the teacher will be getting this kind of feedback while doing formative evaluation. Okay, the teacher will get information regarding all these things. So what happens in formative evaluation, the activities that are done solely for the purpose of understanding how to improve the performance of students. Okay, how to improve the performance of students by giving instant feedback to them. Okay, the instant feedback giving is also an important factor in formative evaluation. What is right, what is wrong, the teacher will be correcting that student from that instant itself. So this evaluation actually gives feedback for both students and teachers. For teachers will be getting feedback about their teaching method, if they have to improve their teaching method or not. For students, they'll know how much they understood a particular concept. For teachers, they'll know how effective their teaching is. Okay. So any assessing method which is done during the teaching transaction, that is one word you have to know, during the teaching transaction or during the instructional period, which is not at all focused on grading or ranking students, is known as formative evaluation. Okay, now I'll discuss what summative evaluation is, then you'll get a better understanding about what formative is. Now, summative evaluation, when it comes to summative evaluation, it happens at the end of the course activity or at the end of the teaching period, at the end of the instructional period. It happens after something. Formative happens during the period of teaching, and summative is the assessment which is done after a teaching process, after an instructional process. Sum of something, after something. So when it comes to summative evaluation, the difference between formative and summative is this one. When it comes to summative, grading and ranking are the main focus. Giving an official, giving a formal grade or rank to the achievement attained by the student. That is the main concern of, that is the main focus of summative evaluation. Here what happens, the teacher will assess the level of achievement made by the student after a teaching process or after the instructional period, as we have discussed. And it can be done through class tests, it can be done through midterm examination or final examination, semester examination, or any kind of mastery test in which they'll be assessing how much achievement, how much proficiency or how much skill this student has achieved or obtained, or any test which formally ranks the student is considered as summative evaluation. Okay, so here the teacher is not at all concerned about improving the performance of the student. Okay, that was formative evaluation. Here it is not at all about performance improving. Rather, they check the level of achievement the student has attained during those periods. So the focus is not to give a descriptive feedback of the student's performance in order to help them improve the performance, but to give an evaluative feedback, pass or fail. Okay, eligible or non-eligible. Okay, or qualified or disqualified. So these kind of things are the product of summative evaluation. Okay, summative evaluation. So one thing you have to notice, summative evaluation happens at the end of the instructional period, and it is a formal purpose to give rank and grade to the student, and not at all concerned about improving the performance of the student. Okay, that is what summative evaluation is. So I hope you understood what summative evaluation is. Is it clear about formative and summative evaluation? Is it clear? Please let me know through this chat session. Okay. Let me know through the chat section. Please comment your answers, opinions. Is this clear? You clearly understood what formative evaluation is and what summative evaluation is. Okay. Yes, Fabin, formative evaluation is continuous for improvement and it involves feedback. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone understood these two concepts. Then we have the other two confusing concepts in types of evaluation, which are criterion referenced and norm reference evaluation. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm not sure. There is heavy rain outside, so I don't know if the sound is clear or not. If you face any kind of problems with with the voice, just let me know through the chat box. Okay. So yes, criterion and norm referenced evaluation. This is another confusing concept in types of evaluation, but which is actually really simple. Okay, there are 2 or 3 points which can be used to differentiate criterion reference point. If you know that, then it's done. Okay. So let's see. Criterion and norm reference testing. These are two confusing concepts, like formative and summative evaluation. We have to admit that. But just like I said, if we know the differentiating factors, it'll be very easy. These 2 tests, okay, criterion and norm reference, have enough similarity, just like the name suggests. Okay, norm referenced and criterion referenced and norm referenced. Okay, very matching name they have. Anyway, these are not really an assessment technique. Okay, but these are evaluation criteria, as we will say, which means these tests are not assessment tools, but these are the way we evaluate the test performance of students. Or what would I say? Okay, don't get confused. Let's take an example. Suppose we are conducting an examination with a score of 100 in total. Okay, we are conducting an examination in a classroom with a score of 100, a total score of 100. A number of students will be attending the exam, and we get their answer sheets. And some of them, we have, we got their answer sheet, and when we evaluated, we found some of them scored 90, some of them scored 75, some of them 45, some of them 50, 65. Different scores will be there. Now the next question is, how are we going to evaluate these scores? On what basis we can judge their performance? There comes the role of criterion and norm reference testing. In this situation, if we are putting a criteria that students who have scored 50 or above, 50 score or above, will only be passing this exam, and the rest of them will be failed or disqualified. If you are putting a criteria like that, here the score is 50. The score 50 is the criteria. And no matter what, if a student gets a score of 50 or above 50, it means that the student is qualified. Okay, if a student gets 50 or 55, it means the student is qualified. If a student gets only 45, it means the student is not passed, or that student is disqualified in that test. Which means there is no comparison between the performances of students in order to evaluate who all are qualified and who all are disqualified. Which means here the performance evaluation is solely based on the absolute performance of the student, which is based on the criteria we set. Okay, which means criterion reference evaluation focus on the absolute performance or the actual performance of the student. We're not at all concerned about judging their performance with the other team members' performance. Okay, we'll be considering only that person's performance in order to evaluate, in order to judge the performance. So we'll be putting a criteria. If a person satisfies that criteria, then that's done. Okay, it is not necessary to compare that person's score with the other students or other members' score who have participated in the same test or in the same assessment. So there are no type of comparison which happens in criterion reference testing. There will be a criteria, only that criteria matters here. If a student, if an individual satisfies that criteria, that is the way that that student's performance, that individual's performance is being judged. Just think about a driving license test. Okay, driving test. You are attending a driving license test. Okay, there'll be so many people around you who are going to take the same test. Will they consider the other people's performance, the other people, how well they drive in order to decide whether they have to give you a license? No, right? If you drive, then you will get the license. It is not necessary, or they're not at all concerned about how well the other people are performing, how well the other people are driving, right? So these are, driving tests are criterion reference. There will be criteria for student, or if a person satisfies that criteria, then that's it. Okay, no comparison needed. That is what criterion reference is. So in criterion reference testing, the person's absolute performance or the actual performance is the one which is measured by the examiner or whoever doing that evaluation. Okay, now norm reference evaluation. So just like criterion reference evaluation, you must understand that. Okay, let's take the same example. In the same example, we are conducting an exam with a total of 100 marks. We can also use a different mechanism to judge their performance. We can compare their performance with the performance of other students attended the same examination and then decide how well a student performed. Here, what happens in norm evaluation, there'll be no kind of criteria like getting a score of 50 will make a student qualify. Rather, if 10 of the other student got better score than a student, that student's performance judgment will get affected. I hope you understood. We usually use the term first rank, second rank, third rank, and the norm reference testing. These kind of ranking are there in norm reference testing. In criterion reference testing, we won't be ranking anyone based on their position. Okay, but this ranking is found in norm reference testing because what happens in norm reference is that we are judging their relative performance, not their absolute performance. We are not judging their actual performance. In fact, we are judging their performance, which, when compared to the performance of the other members who took the same test or who took the same assessment. Okay, we are measuring the relative performance, not the actual or not the absolute performance. Okay, getting first, second, third rank. Getting a first rank means you have performed better than the rest of the students, right? Getting a third rank means 2 of the total students performed better than you. So here in norm reference testing, what happens, we're not considering the actual or absolute performance of the student, but the relative performance of the student, just like IQ test. In IQ test, whenever you do a particular task, activity, okay, in IQ test, there'll be so many subtasks and all. When you get that activity, you will be, having a score. That score is compared to the average population score. Then only they'll be considering your intelligence score, IQ score. So these kind of IQ tests are examples of norm reference testing. So the main difference is that in criterion reference testing, only your performance matters. In norm reference testing, your performance also matters, which related to the other team members' performance. So absolute performance is in the criterion reference. There will be a certain criteria for that. And in norm reference, there is no absolute performance, only relative performance. Okay, I hope you understood these concepts, criterion and norm reference evaluation. When a test will be a criterion one and when a test will be a norm referenced one. Okay. So, have you understood these concepts? What criterion and norm reference evaluation are, which measures absolute performance, which measures relative performance. If you are clear about these topics, please let me know through the chat box, okay? Please comment using the chat box. And one thing you have to note down for an examination perspective is that criterion and norm reference testing are a kind of summative evaluation. These are formal in nature. Okay, these are formal in nature. So it can be considered as a summative test. Okay. So criterion and norm referenced evaluation. Yes, that's right. Criterion reference testing are based on a standard, based on a criteria. In norm reference, we compare the performance of the group, other team members. Okay. Whenever a test uses this normal distribution thing, this normal distribution curve in order to judge the performance, we can say it as norm reference evaluation. Okay. When we consider an average population score, that is always about norm reference evaluation. Okay. Last two. Okay. I think Srirag is talking about criterion and norm reference. If that is the confusion, okay, let me summarize it once again. Okay, types of evaluation, I'll summarize it once again. Please listen carefully. Those who are having confusion regarding this evaluation, just okay, listen carefully. I'll be summarizing the types of evaluation. When it comes to formative evaluation, we said it happens during the teaching period, okay, during the instructional period. And the core theme of doing formative evaluation is to improve the performance of the student by giving immediate feedback to the student. Okay, that is what formative evaluation is. Like during the class session, everything that happens during the class session can be considered as a formative evaluation. Asking, conducting a quiz session, asking a question, or asking them to do a summary note, everything is considered as a formative evaluation, which help the student to improve their performance. When it comes to summative evaluation, it is much more formal in nature. The main thing is to give mark or grade to the student. Okay, so it happens at the end of the instructional period. Like our class tests or semester examination, annual exam, all these kind of formal thing assesses how much achievement is made by the student at the end of the instructional period, at the end of the product. I mean, it actually measures the a finished product. Okay, a finished product, how much the student is acquired, how much knowledge student acquired during all these periods. That is what summative evaluation is. Now, criterion and norm reference are kind of summative evaluation. Criterion reference evaluation is solely focused on assessing the performance of individual performance of the student without even comparing, not at all comparing the performance of any other students, any other group. Okay, and so this kind of group performance comparison is not there in criterion reference. In fact, what is there in criterion reference is that a criteria will be there, a standard will be there. Based on that standard, based on that criteria, the student's performance will be evaluated. When it comes to norm reference, the evaluators, the examinees, or whoever doing that evaluation will be considering relative performance of the student. Okay, when comparing the performance of the student with the other group members who attended the same test. So they're not at all considering the absolute or actual performance of the student in norm reference evaluation. I hope you guys can hear me. This, due to this heavy rain, I don't know if you guys can, if there is any noise disturbance or something, just, let me know the session. Okay. When it comes to formative evaluation is mostly informal. Okay, mostly informal, but there can be formal sessions also. Okay, formal activities can also be done in formative evaluation, but the end of the formal activities in formative evaluation, we cannot say this about giving them a mark or grade. It won't be like that. They won't proceed it with the formal way. That is why formative evaluation is mostly considered as informal, but formal thing can also be happen. But when it comes to summative, we can say it is purely formal in nature, okay, or official in nature, okay. So yes, we'll be discussing 1 or 2 questions from this topic and we'll be winding up. So just try to answer this question and then you'll have an idea about how much did you understand these portions we have discussed just right now. Okay. First question. Which of the characteristics in classroom teaching behavior as given below will be classified as a part of formative assessment? You have to select the option which are talking about formative assessment. Examples of formative assessment would be the answer. Now, read it carefully, take your time and answer. We'll discuss 1 or 2 questions and we'll be winding up today's session. The teacher asks questions to elicit classification from students. Teacher is asking question. Asking question is formative or summative. Most of the times when they ask about formative assessment, they'll include everything, every features of summative evaluation to make you confused. When they ask about summative question, there'll be features explaining formative in the option. That is how this, formative summative thing goes in NET exam. So make sure you can differentiate between formative and summative. Teachers specify the level of mastery attained by the student. Every time when you hear the term mastery, just think about it. Mastery test means you are assessing, we are assessing a student's achievement level, proficiency level in terms of his or her own absolute performance. That is what mastery test is. How proficient a student is. That is what mastery test is checking. So what, which one will be mastery test, formative or summative? Definitely mastery test is summative in nature. Okay, just note that. The teacher prompts the students while making presentation. Okay, during presentation, teacher is using probing method and all to encourage the students to construct the knowledge, to express the knowledge, to express the information. Okay, is it done during the instruction? or after the instruction. You can easily conclude, right? Now, the teacher pauses for a few seconds, look at the student and ask questions. When it is happening during the teaching or after the teaching, you can easily find out. The teacher indicates performance criteria and given judgmental values. Teacher is putting a criteria and giving a judgmental value, a kind of judgmenting and using criteria in order to assess the performance of the student. Where happens this? Formative or summative. You know, criterion reference evaluation and norm reference evaluation are in formative or summative. You can easily find out. So every one of you are okay. Yes, B. Everyone is B. Of course, it's B. Okay. There is no, there is nothing to get confused. The only thing you have to notice whenever you hear the term mastery test and all, just connect it with summative test. It is not formative test. Okay. And all the other options can be easily identified as formative evaluation because these all are done during the teaching period. Okay. So it's quite easy to answer this question, right? Okay. Yeah. Second question. Okay. This will be our last question, I think. Which devices from the list given below will form part of formative evaluation? They're again asking about formative evaluation. Okay, formative evaluation. Read the question well and try to answer. Conducting a quiz session during the session, okay, during a teaching process or after the teaching process. Easy, right? Now, giving multiple choice type question in post-instructional session. Post-instructional session, that is one term you have to note, okay? Post-instructional session. What is post? Post means after something. After a teaching period or after an instructional period, what happens? Formative or summative? We know this clearly, summative, right? Giving a mastery test, again, don't get confused, not again, okay? When you hear the term mastery test, you know where to connect. Now, providing corrective feedback during discussion, very easy. Encouraging opportunity for metacognitive thinking. What is metacognitive thinking? Thinking about thinking. Okay, if I'm thinking about how much I'm capable of thinking, I'm doing metacognitive thinking. Thinking about my own thinking capabilities. That is what metacognitive thinking is. These kind of reflections are possible in where? Formative or summative? Formative, right? In summative, there is no need for thinking about my thinking capabilities in order to improve those skills. The improving based things are only on formative evaluation. Grading students, we can directly connect the term grading to summative because we know formative evaluation is not at all concerned about grading and marking or ranking. Okay, it is about improving the performance. Grading is concerned. Grading can be connected to summative evaluation, not formative evaluation. So yes, everyone is right about it. Okay, I'm sorry. Option A is the right one. Now, if we have time, I have time. I hope you guys have time. If that's so, we'll answer one more question. Question number 3. By this question, we'll be winding up for real. Okay. You guys may be hungry, a bit hungry. Anyway, let's answer this question also. This will be our final question. Just read carefully. Which one of the following types of evaluation assesses the learning progress to provide continuous feedback to both teachers and students during instruction? Okay. During instruction, this is very easy because the only word you have to note in question is during instruction. Without even checking the full option, you can easily correct the right, you can easily choose the right answer. Which evaluation happens during the instruction? Clearly, it is formative evaluation. We are not at all confused about that, right? What is placement evaluation? Just going to the option, okay? What is placement evaluation? The evaluation that is taking place for the purpose of determining entry behavior, that kind of entrance examination to get into 8th standard, 10th standard, or, for the purpose of selecting someone to a course or class. Those kind of evaluation can be, known as placement evaluation. Diagnostic evaluation is the evaluation which happens before a teaching process, okay, before a teaching process, in order to identify the strength and weakness of the student. If a teacher knows the strength and weakness of the student, the teacher can, accordingly design the curriculum. So for that purpose, what happens? Diagnostic evaluation. Teachers conduct diagnostic evaluation. So don't get confused. So our right answer is option B, formative evaluation. Okay. So yes, that's it. That's it, guys. That's it. We have discussed two important topics in this episode: levels of teaching and types of evaluation. Okay, these are two important factual topics. There are 3 to 4 factual topics in teaching aptitude syllabus. Okay, among that, these are two important topics, and there are key behaviors of teaching, helpful behaviors of teaching, teaching techniques. All of these are some other factual topics which you have to cover before exam. Just don't skip that portion, because if you cover that portion, it will definitely do you good. Okay, so we have discussed 3 different levels of teaching: memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. I hope you understood the concept. I hope you can now differentiate between memory, understanding reflective, and all these things. Then we have discussed types of evaluation, 4 types of evaluation: formative, summative, what are the difference, criterion, norm difference, what are the difference. Okay, so yes, that's it. I hope you understood these concepts. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? The things we have discussed so far, is this clear? Please let me know to the chat box. Please comment using the chat box. Now, if you guys have any questions or confusion, just ask me through the comment box, okay? Please let me know. All the things we have discussed today is clear or not? Okay, is it clear or not? Okay. So that is clear. I hope that's clear. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, I hope that's clear. So we have discussed 2 of the important factual topics in teaching aptitude today. It'll be better if you can practice more previous year questions, okay? In teaching aptitude, in case of teaching aptitude, this previous year question practicing is a really important aspect. With enough question practice, you'll get an idea about how this teaching aptitude question may appear during exam, and will definitely help you during the exam. Okay, so practice previous year questions as much as possible. Okay, if the NTA is postponing the exam again and again, just don't mind that, or just ignore it. Just do your part. That's it. Just practice questions, just revise the things you have already studied as much as possible. Okay, so yeah, another thing I have to tell is that don't worry about the things that you don't study, that you didn't study yet. Please revise all the focus areas and try to answer previous year questions during this last phase of preparation, because in this last phase of preparation, if you have already covered all the important areas, maybe next thing you have to do is previous year questions. Okay, beginner says that. Okay. So Aifer Final Lab program will help you cover all the focus areas in almost every topic in paper 1. And using our question bank, you can answer previous year questions also. Okay. So what you have to do is, don't forget to subscribe this channel for more classes of paper 1. There'll be so many topic discussion coming soon, and there'll be previous year question discussions also. We are planning to conduct previous year question discussion sessions, live streaming in a live streaming mode. So don't forget to subscribe this channel. You can watch it and make use of it. So just please don't forget to subscribe. If you don't subscribe yet, please subscribe this channel. And if you want to get a free question bank of paper 1 previous year question, you can visit our website www.aifer.in. Okay, and you can download it from there, which is totally free. Okay, so just try to do that. So yes, that's it. I hope all of you got a clear understanding on the topics we have discussed today. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you in learning Arabic. I don't know the real name. Sintucha, thank you. Okay, Fatima, thank you so much. Again, okay. So yeah, that's it. If you don't have any confusions regarding this kind of thing, these topics we have mentioned, just let's wind up this session. I hope you guys are preparing well, your preparations are going well. Criterion and, okay, Sridhar is asking a question. Criterion and norm reference evaluation can be considered as a part of summative evaluation because of its formal nature. Okay, it's a part of summative evaluation, not formative. Okay. Thank you, Malati. Thank you so much. Glad to know that it was helpful for you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sindhuja. Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, everyone. I hope your preparations are going well. All of your preparations are going well. Just don't get disappointed when you hear this kind of postponing news and rescheduling news from NT. Okay. Last year also it happened, and when I was preparing, I went too low when hearing they're postponing this exam again and again. It happens with NJ sometimes because of they have their own reason. Just ignore it. You have to do your part. That is what important is. So just don't get disappointed. You have enough time. Make use of it fruitfully and practically. That's it. Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So prepare well. Go and prepare well. And don't forget, don't skip your meal, have enough rest, and have a good sleep. Okay. Just prepare at the same time, be relaxed. So wishing you all the best, everyone. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much and have a good night's sleep. Thank you, everyone. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.